Paying a unionized public staff to sit and write traffic tickets is not the best use of.
For a while, he was like, fuck time. We were out running some errands.
We have all these parking enforcement programs.
That's right.
Yeah, like a more nuanced, like,
You guys left it at least and other cities grappling with.
I can't remember what it was, but I've got to.
Our menu's smaller, so they've got more options.
Most of them are very.
Of course, well, the Supreme Court of Mississippi, which grabs a lot of traffic enforcement.
Like Mississippi
Based upon the fact that you cannot, there's not evidence that the owner of the car was the person operating the car.
So, the reason why Utah doesn't have it is for the state legislator in West Georgia.
Yeah, that's right.
And no one was tracking it, but they started tracking nationally.
You can't confront your accuser.
Like rank it by spice level.
Which is the lowest average. But it's so weird because like, why are traffic laws the only crime you have to be observed committing in order to be prosecuted for?
That's a really good point. I haven't thought of that. I don't know if that's.
If I steal on my taxes or murder my neighbor, presumably a cop didn't have to watch it happen in order to be prosecuted.
Yeah, last year.
They do need to look at cumulative evidence. Actually, Arizona turned off their traffic enforcement cameras, which they had. And the reason why was because the data, the license plates and tracking them was being given by, they were using a commercial third party. And the data from these are like tracking illegal immigrants or deportation. Other that seems
that's not what I was meant to do. You know what, I've been to a few state our meetings where folks not having to there. You have license plate readers throughout the city. Yeah, of course, BYU, you can't drive on BYU property without a license.
That's right.
Catching your, And in the name of safety and security is what they're justifying something for, but they catch that guy that's thinking with it.
Yeah.
So I like small, no, I differentiate.
Recording in progress.
I like to support the small independent restaurants.
Follow it possible, even though they were stolen a while ago.
I feel like critical public safety can get a warrant to look through that database.
Yeah, so like if you like.
If it's like, we're gonna feed all this data.
Burgers and barley, that burgers and barley. Really weird. Try the barley side, but they have really good.
I'm doing GLP, so like I can't even finish.
My big Provo restaurant will take
I think every place sells better pizza if they have more beer.
I haven't been to order the beer, but everybody can see it, yeah. Yeah, it's not what it can be, that's for sure.
I feel a little like a meeting at a nursing home. Olive Garden.
Yeah. Olive Garden.
We should address that.
Yeah.
We should.
Olive Garden.
That seems like it's
Okay, channel 17, if you're ready, please start recording.
Okay. We'll first excuse Beth Province. I understand she's attending perhaps the birth of a new grandchild.
Yeah, her daughter's doing that. First one.
I will be conducting the meeting today, and I'll start with introductions. I'm Noah Gordon, the vice chair, and then let's actually start with those online, and I believe at least there's Kendall. Kendall, if you want to introduce yourself and give us a tour of your house virtually. But you are muted in case you were trying to make a verbal introduction. And while she's sorting that out, let's go around the room. Let's start here.
Ashley Fiat, Public Works.
Joseph Candy, Public Works.
And Paul, Development Services.
Harry Keller, TMAC.
Patrice McKay, Council. Rachel Lovelace.
Trevor Front, yeah.
Aaron Kiesler, Provo City Engineer.
Richard Jensen, West Connectivity, 100 North.
And I'm Kehan Shul with Provo City Public Works.
And I failed to do the two things that Kahan asked me to do, which are to state the date, which is Thursday, June 11th, 2026. We started this meeting at 12:30 p.m. It's now 12:32. And I should have asked you each also to state whether you had a conflict of interest or not with any of the items on the agenda today. So does anyone, now that you've already made your introductions, do any of you have a conflict of interest? Speak now or have no conflict of interest? Apparently none. Excellent. First item of business is to an action item to approve the minutes from the May 21st, 2026 meeting. Anyone like to approve the minutes? Entertain a motion.
I would like to approve the minutes. I read them and I thought they were accurate.
Excellent. Anyone can second that? That was Greg McFarland. Have a motion and a second, so that is, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the next item is the east-west connectivity discussion. And, Vernon, are you leading that discussion?
I think that we'll refresh everybody's memory a little bit, but we did give a presentation last month. We can quickly go to that and just share a little bit of a reminder of what that looked like. But what we ended up doing is carrying out the request of the TMAC to look at east-west connectivity, what the general plan, what the land use plan said, what the transportation master plan said, what the regional transportation plan said, and what it was drafted at. We just provided all the references to that. And then we looked at east-west connectivity by using level of service analysis from the highway capacity manual for corridor level of service, and we looked at volumes along there, and so people can kind of get an idea of where our percentage by segment of east-west connectivity and what percentage of the capacity is being used for a level of service D. Again, that doesn't mean it's failing by any means. Like when you get over that 100% of the level of service D, you start moving into that E and F category, and you experience congestion more frequently. So we have those up there. We have the plans up there. If you wanted to reference any portion of those, we can go to the maps or look at anything. We did discuss level of service. I believe Greg and I had a good discussion on that, and pointed out a few things about what that means and what it doesn't mean. I think that was healthy as well. So right now, we talked about some of the barriers. We know that the railroad tracks, the railroad corridor, the I-15 corridor, even the Provo River, which is great, is also a barrier to east-west transportation and mobility and connectivity. And so we kind of just, and also talked about some of the progress we have made over the years, a couple decades, of providing additional connectivity with the construction, planning and construction of Lakeview Parkway, the 500 West underpass at I-15, and then also the connectivity that we have at 920, 820 North, and up at 2000. That's about it, some of those connections. So hopefully that summarizes what we talked about, and now we get to hear and discuss what our concerns are about east-west connectivity and how to try to attempt to solve some of those east-west connectivity mobility challenges.
You go to one of the maps.
We started from north to south, I think I did, and started on the north end of Provo and worked our way down south. So whatever map you're wanting, it should be in here. What map did you want to go to?
Well, I wanted to see things sort of in context.
Okay.
One of the frustrating discussions, one of the frustrating elements of this east-west connectivity discussion is people say Provo lacks east-west connectivity, and every person who says that means something different, right? And this is kind of where I think I wanted to have these conversations in this way, right? There's the barrier of I-15, the railroad there. There's the barrier of the Provo River, which is sort of coincidental to that in much of the city. And then there's the barrier of BYU and the fact that we lose the grid system north of Cougar and like all those other things that happen north of Cougar and south of 600. And that all of those are things that people can mean when they talk about east-west connectivity. So I guess I'm curious what, I think when you ask people in the tree streets where I grew up, or Edgemont or neighborhoods going north, they're frustrated by how long it takes to get across University Avenue into Orem or around BYU. When you talk to people west of the freeway, they're frustrated by how long it takes them to get across the freeway into Provo. And I guess I'm curious, do you have like OD data? Can you get OD data? Is there survey data that can inform, obviously not this discussion today, but the discussion that we may have over the next couple months, right? Like when can we classify this question of east-west connectivity by neighborhood? Because it's probably different in every neighborhood.
You're really talking geography, the way you explained what people's different opinions may be. When it comes to origin and destination data, we can take a look at that. I'll have to work with MAG to do so. Or I would have to hire a consultant to take a look at those OD data by traffic analysis zone. But I think we can get MAG to help me out there a little bit and maybe assemble some houses and take a look at where people are going within Provo. I think that would be very helpful. See where people within Provo are traveling to and from. So I can try to work on that for the month of, well, you're presenting in August, right?
I'm presenting in August, and I will present some of that, but it's not real data, it's just modeled behavior. It's sort of like point of interest type thing. So it would be good to have that as well. I'm sure MAG would be happy to just give you a trip table from their model runs.
Yeah, let's see what we can find there. When we do O&D data, origin and destination data, it's really important to show that visually. Most people won't understand it, right? So we want to be able to show that visually, and I created some maps 20 plus years ago in which does work very well at showing those. So let me see if I can.
But when we had the presentation by MAG earlier in the year, he showed, effectively district to district OD tables, but they had internal Provo trips removed from them, right? And
Yeah,
that was,
and I think
that was
we're showing all
frustrating.
countywide.
That's right.
Right.
But it'd be cool to see, like, okay, for each of these, 7 or 8 districts in Provo, where do the trips that originate there go to, right?
Let's see what I can do. Very good point.
We start with one and talk about Center Street.
Easy one to talk about.
Yeah.
It's the heart right into the
It's like the
heart of
worst.
Provo, right?
Transportation Street.
Did you not recognize that they did a terrible, terrible thing?
Privately, yes.
They get told that quite often.
Is the accident rate for that one higher than other designed interchanges?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, without
It-
doubt.
with,
We've got quantifiable data that,
in the 2 years after it opened, it was the deadliest interstate interchange in the state.
It's also the hotspot for accidents in Provo, right, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
It has the number of fatal crashes has gone down a lot since they did make a couple of improvements,
Yeah, they made those lights, advanced warning lights.
but it's still not where they want it. And it's actually a very good teaching example for me. honestly.
So-
I wonder, like, I lived in southeast Provo, and I was on that road all the time. Yes, it's a freeway, right? And I wonder, like, it's the worst freeway access road. No one should go on a 15-mile road downtown freeway ever. Like, it's terrible. I think we need to, and maybe we'll do a plaza there someday. And maybe, who knows what'll happen with Center Street, but it'll be improved on. But I feel like we need to we do need a commuting road. You need a freeway road. You need something that's quick for all of the east side and west side to get over to freeway. But it seems like we should be having a very concerted effort to make 100 or 200. I would assume it would be 100, but I don't know. The road, like signage, and it should be set up that way, and it should be a really good turn into the freeway where, 2 lanes are going right to those lights are all set up so that when you start going over State Street, you're right onto the freeway. It should be set up as a freeway road, a commuting road. I'm wondering what can be done there? Is that something that is done, or?
Really good point. First North is a 4-lane facility, 5 if you count the center turn lane. And with that, we have it signed, posted speed limit is 35. It's larger than, it's higher than any of our other downtown roads that are Provo cities. We do try to funnel people to First North. We all know that
How do we funnel them?
well, that heavy left turn from 500 from Center Street is and we've implemented a slower speed limit on Center Street at 15 miles an hour. We've implemented raised crosswalks to remind people that it's more of a pedestrian-oriented facility, even though we still have 20,000 vehicles there on that road.
But like, could we do signage that said, for I-15 and put it on 100 coming off University to turn right?
I think the challenge is not just leaving Provo going to the freeway, but like a lot of the trips, and this is where the OD analysis would be helpful, I think a lot of the trips that are using Center Street are coming from further east than University Avenue. And 100 North is a great facility between 500 and University, and then it becomes a residential street east of University. And in fact, it ends at Provo Peaks, and so it doesn't go past 600 east. And so that means its utility as a road to get to BYU, for instance, or even to the state hospital or any of the neighborhoods east of downtown is pretty limited. And my suspicion is that a lot of the people who continue to use Center Street are going somewhere east of University, where 100 doesn't go. And 200 doesn't go either, and really, like, the next street that does is 5th.
So is there a way to
No,
make,
and it only gets to 70s.
And that only gets to 70s, that's right.
is there a way to make it, like, we make a plan and make it usable and make it the best way to go and make it?
It would require changing the neighborhood east of University pretty substantially. And I think it would be, there would be political challenges with that, as like with any of these that we're talking about.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, that's right. You live on that street.
I raise a question. Sorry. So this is gonna appear that I have a conflict of interest because it would be to my advantage if all that traffic went past my store on the corner of 3rd South and 500 West. But I've often wondered, because 3rd South is, if it were, you know, at Center Street, it would be the obvious choice for getting through that part of downtown, but it's 3 blocks south. And I wonder why, in all the discussions, why do we keep talking about First North? UDOT's already got this road. It's a highway. It goes all the way to 900 East. Why aren't we shunning traffic that way? Is it the people that are using that road don't want to? It's too far out of the way from the direction they're headed.
I think they're trying to go to northeast Provo.
So 3 blocks to the south, it saves you 5 minutes. Well, it could. If Center Street was. If people actually drove Center Street like they're supposed to.
Well, but you see that too, because you've got the double left turn lanes going from 5th West northbound onto Center Street, and that queue's very long all the time also. So there are people using that for that.
It's really unfortunate that roads are laid out the way they are.
I think a lot of people would say we are fortunate to have the roads laid out the way we are. If you grew up back east somewhere where they're, you know, it's not a non-grid pattern, right? Back to the interchange, just so everybody's aware, 2028, I think they're slated to do that southbound ramp and remove the hill, if you will, yeah. So the southbound off-ramp on I-15 at Center Street interchange will be under construction. That will likely take.
Are they gonna redo the whole interchange?
No, just the ramp, just the southbound ramp. And it will take like 2 months, and it will be painful.
When you say southbound ramp, then you're not talking about the ramp close to Salt Lake. You're talking about like coming off
Yeah,
I-15?
coming off. Yeah, southbound off-ramp.
So
Or you
instead of
go
waiting
down
at that
and
traffic
up.
light, when you come off southbound, you wait at that traffic light and then go up the hill and around. They're gonna build a flyover over that. So that will no longer have a traffic light there for that movement. And that's where,
That's the most dangerous part?
that is the most dangerous current part.
You have that merging.
Well, yeah, you've got the people going southbound on I-15 from eastbound Center Street who have to come over and then do the weave looking over their back shoulder. This is the kind of thing that should have been identified in the design stage, and I can't believe it was not.
So it's this southbound ramp right here coming off the interstate. This was the big crash area. People come on. There's a little bit of a rise or a hill here. They come in, they had a lot of rear end crashes with traffic at the stopped at the signal. They've since put advanced yellow flashing lights to warn people that traffic is backed up. But then you get this whole mess, right? Anyway. So we know that that's UDOT. Years ago, we explored the possibility of one-way couplets, but once the Center Street Temple was announced, or the downtown temple was announced, the council, they knew what they were doing. We made it perfectly clear that we'll forever lose the possibility of one-way couplets on First South and First North.
You think 100 north, westbound only, Center Street and eastbound only.
Yeah.
But a lot of cities have done that, and most of the cities that have done it are trying to undo them.
Loveland, Colorado's a prime example. I hate it.
Yeah, Raleigh has like 3 sets of one-way couplets through the middle of,
And why are they trying to undo it?
because it turns your center into basically a freeway.
A throughway instead
And
of.
all the businesses
downtown.
die.
Yeah, better for
But that's right, they get people through the city so they don't actually like stop and buy things.
I suppose the problem is downtown, we want it to be a still area where people go and stop.
But we still need a through place.
The through needs to be something other than. Well, I'm glad to hear that they plan to make slightly better.
I'm also glad.
Yeah, Center Street from the interstate, well, all the way from Stable Road, went, all the way to the state hospital.
Yeah.
And it was a state route then. Even 9th East was a former state route at one time. And so, now their state route ends at 5th West. So we own it and maintain it, anything east of 5th West.
Because when you're talking about that east-west connectivity crossing freeway there at Center, it's also just terrible because of the way the interchange is designed.
Especially if you're on a bicycle or.
I don't know that this proposed change helps with that at all.
It will not.
No.
I mean, it will remove some of the conflicts,
Right.
and it will make that light, we could time it so that it's not prioritizing that outbound off-ramp movement. So it will become marginally better, but not potentially so.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's any one silver bullet or any, easy low-hanging fruit on Center Street.
I will say, like we mentioned this in the meeting last time, the constraints that the UDOT engineers and their consultants were working on with this project, from my understanding, I was not around for it then. The design that they came up with was done in a manner that, number one, would keep the Center Street interchange open through the construction, because that was the express desire of the city council. They couldn't build the new interchange where the old interchange was and keep it open.
It's short-sighted.
It was short-sighted. The other constraint that they were working with is that this design actually does maximize the amount of developable area in and around that. Like there's more acres of land that could be developed there between the railway and the road. But that development hasn't
That looks
happened.
going.
Because I don't think a lot of businesses want to site themselves there. But those are the constraints that they worked with. They were imposed on them by the city council, and that was at least part of why we got what we did.
The purpose and need statement that Greg's talking about was to provide access to Draper Lane. And that's this right here. And, I've always stressed the importance of the purpose and need statement. Be careful what you put in the purpose and need statement because you'll get what you're supposed to get. And that was unfortunate. Car dealers don't want to locate there. It was, there's such thing as being too close. And that's too familiar, too close.
But honestly, if we had a bunch of businesses there with a bunch of traffic, the interchange wouldn't work either. Like the traffic patterns can't support that.
It's failing now. And the other reason is, the third reason that they also put in was that, they did this less expensive. They could extend the freeway development all the way one lane in each direction to Spanish Fort, which they did. And so they were able, under a design build scenario, say, we'll give you this, this is what we can do in addition for you. We can't do this buoy, or we can't do whatever was going to be here at Center. One thing they are getting ready to do is, with the development of the apartment complex here, this will be a 3-lane cross-section from 1600 West over to 2050, which is Geneva Road. So that should be restriped this summer. And we've had a lot of rear-end collisions. And this segment from here to here is way over capacity. It's over capacity.
Can you zoom in? What is that striped at now? Is it just 2 lanes?
It's a 2-laner, for the most part.
Okay.
You're saying you're putting in a middle lane?
Yeah, we'll have a center turn lane. UDOT will have to restripe that in cooperation with the apartment complex that's having the impact. This is State Route 114. Geneva Road and Center Street are State Route 114, but just from here to here. So those 4 blocks.
That'll help as people, stop to turn left into the neighborhood or their driveways.
This neighborhood for years have expressed concern. And then I think some of the area here too, but especially this neighborhood.
You need to restripe it, or are we taking an easement?
We had a little bit of improvement done along this portion of it with the new apartment complex, but it's a restriping project.
Property Smith, so.
Smiths did own that. Yeah, they used to own that. That was the Smiths property. And then the Cox family, I should say, the Cox family owned it. Smiths had a right of refusal for a very long time. So Center Street, we're seeing a lot of traffic still, making that left at 9th, but they have to go through, downtown to do it.
Can we talk about 807? Because 7th goes all the way from the mountain to Freedom, and 8th goes all the way from Provo High effectively to, there's a block at Geneva, from 8th to 7th.
But one you want to talk about?
So 800 North,
okay.
It crosses the freeway and the river. It doesn't have a really good termination at Geneva. Like you could punch that through and then get over to, say punch it through, just destroy 10 houses. But it could connect. There's a east-west connection to be made there at that point. And then there's also, if you go further to the east around Freedom or University, 800 North goes from being a fairly, sort of arterial street to a residential street, but 700 picks up as the arterial going across, or at least the collector. And it seems like some kind of project or procedure that would link those two would provide a lot of east-west connection. Because you see a lot of people who will turn right on Freedom from 7th, or turn right on University from 7th, and then turn left on 8th.
Why did BRT get put on 7th? It was our good arterial, it was our good movement road.
Well, the BRT hasn't really reduced the capacity of that road that much.
It's absolutely.
It's cut a lot of the cross.
It's lost the cross connectivity, so it's changed.
A lot of north-south.
It's very, very irritating for all the east side residents. Right. But I'm wondering why wasn't it put on 8th?
I wasn't here. I've always told UTA, and in fact, with our meetings with UTA, we've thought about, hey, as you look at your long-range plan, what about moving that to 8th?
That's a game changer.
Would be.
Stationary plan.
Oh, is
As
it?
an option, yeah,
Yeah.
as opposed to future option.
Yeah, not an option, is it like a need?
I mean, traffic goes pretty well west on that, in part because with the busing and the lack of north-south means traffic is.
Yeah, but you just lose some of the people who would use it to get somewhere because they can't get there.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, I'm frustrated that the new Provo Power building was located exactly where it was, because there's a lot of empty space on that site. Could have become an S-curve of some kind, 7th to 8th.
Like here.
Yeah.
Well, the power department's been for 100 years probably.
Well, I know that. It's been around for 40 of them.
When they rebuilt the building.
When they rebuilt the building, they could have considered this. That's exactly what I'm saying.
The smokestack is no longer there.
That's right, there's not, yeah. But like, is there something else we could consider in, that 4-block segment? Or working with signal timing or whatever to link up those two east-west roads?
Yeah, like, is it a thing,
Similar
I
to
don't
what?
know, is it a thing to make it where this happens seamlessly, like that these lights, this light, this light, this, that becomes an easier, an obvious thing?
Kind of similar to what was discussed here, is some type of direct connection to First.
Yeah.
And I think Greg's talking about the same thing, that would have been advantageous to do something like this, connecting that. Yeah.
It would, like, the challenge with doing that, of course, is when you have these high volume through streets like 500 West or Freedom or University, doing that timing would interfere with those through operations. There are way more people. This is something that often gets lost in the east-west connectivity discussion, is that 90% of trips in the Wasatch Front are north-south trips. And so all of these.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
In Provo? The city of Provo?
Well, that's why I want to see the Provo OD data.
I would say it's not in the city of Provo.
But I think a lot of the people who complain about east-west connections are trying to get to the freeway so that
They're
they
trying
can
to
go
get to the
north-south.
freeway, they're trying to get to Orem.
Yeah, so that they can go north-south.
What road is it that dead ends into the colony?
500.
500. We do have that on our master
So
plan.
he is willing to do something there.
Right. So as we look at 500, we do have that proposed to connect to
So does
450.
he own everything to 9th East, or is there another?
No, there's a row of homes here that we would have. There's 4 homes at
I
least.
think he owns them all
He owns the colony homes.
He owns the colony, but I don't think
He's
he
been buying
owns
them
the
up
2
all around
homes
them.
that we need here and here. Then Mr. Pay owns the.
So is that so it's just that Pay family, that is the most underutilized thing right there.
Yeah, not efficient land use. So connecting that 450 and connecting that through to 500. So that is on the Transportation Master Plan, and it is now on the MAG plan, if I remember correctly. And I don't see why we couldn't use corridor preservation funds for purchase of these facilities here. At least that's what I'm trying to get on there.
The current transportation master plan is 2020. The analysis probably done starting in 2017 or 18.
Yep.
So when the
Exactly right,
next
17. We talked about that. We are averaging 11 years for every update to our transportation master plan. So I'm figuring the next one would be adopted around 2030, 2031, with project probably starting in 2029.
Right.
Kendall?
Can I ask a question? What about 2200 West? Is that going to be expanded or
They do it
not?
north.
2200 West, where 9th East curves around at the temple and the MTC? Because
So
I
that's
said,
200 north.
or 2200, sorry, north. Listen to my brain, not to my mouth. But that to me is a huge problem on the east-west connectivity coming home and going out, because I live in the tree streets. I'm constantly combating BYU traffic to come up and through University to get to 9th East. So now I've trained myself to go up and around that way, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is on Provo City's Transportation Master Plan, Kendall, and it's also on Mountain Land Association, the government's regional transportation plan as well. Our current administration is against widening that road through there. It is about a 5-block bottleneck that runs from Stadium Avenue on 9th East over to about Canyon Road.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working, Richard Jensen, who's sitting behind me, has a home on the north side of that street, and we've been working with the neighborhood now for a year and a half, at least a year and a half, maybe more. We've been working with them to do some safety improvements on that corridor. The Transportation Master Plan identifies safety and capacity improvements on that segment. So we tackled the safety problems or safety improvements, and we're in the heart of doing some of those now. For Richard's knowledge, which one of the things is that they got this merge right here, and we did the study on the merge, and the merge is not correct. So we're working on doing some new signage and striping for that merge.
The merge.
Going eastbound. Eastbound, you're on 2200 north, and you're going to eastbound through here, and we get some side swipes there. And anyway, so we're going to be restriping that. Also in advance of 2200, Richard and the neighborhood have been working on vegetation cleanup. In fact, they just had a recent vegetation cleanup day where the entire neighborhood came out and hauled away a lot of vegetation and tree branches. Is that right, Richard?
Yeah, three of us.
Oh, three of you.
Big name.
Wasn't a big project. Okay, so anyway, we have some things that we're doing on 2200, but we're trying to tackle the safety problems first. We have applied for MAG to do a connection project here at 250. I believe it's 250. Anyway, right here, and put a traffic signal here.
Like which houses will be gone,
That would be, the MAG money would come available 2030, 2031.
Oh.
But it doesn't look like we're gonna get funded on that project. So that have to be something that we'll approach the city council on and ask, for annual capital facilities to improve.
Did Matt give a reason on why?
It didn't rank high enough on the list. It's not final yet. We go before the board in August, but it did not.
Is that the new standard of numbers that they?
Yeah. So, Kendall, back to your question.
Report that Vern cried in the last MAG-TAC meeting, pleading for projects for Provo. You are all aware.
Yeah,
It was not a pretty sight.
it wasn't pretty.
But we're glad
Many
you find
chairs
it.
were shit.
Yeah. So Kendall, to get back to your point, it is in our plan to widen this to reduce the bottleneck and go to a full, 4-lane cross-section that connects 9th with 2200 over at Canyon.
Can I ask why the current administration, why they're opposed to it?
Well, we got a lot of houses on the here, and it really
True.
would impact the neighborhood. And I mean,
That's
there's a lot of reasons on both sides of the issue. I can argue both sides.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which, again,
it's worth underlining that the neighborhood there is not interested in that widening. And you can imagine why.
yeah,
I think that to do the road, up to modern safety standards, the city, if they were going to widen it, should acquire all homes on both sides of the road and knock them all down. I think I'm sorry?
What do you think?
I think it's inappropriate to have driveways open up onto a 5-lane street.
Well, once you put the buffer things on, once you put like that they don't open up onto it.
But that's a wider road, right? And so you're taking away everybody's front yards on both sides.
Well, it's way less than.
Yeah, so you'd be weighing the benefits to some people against the very real harms to others, and that's a tough decision. And it's not critical, I don't think, at this moment.
It's a tough decision. It can be designed where we don't have to take the homes on the south side and provide a one-way road for them where they can connect without having to back out onto a 5-lane facility. These lots are pretty deep along here on the north side. We've acquired 3 or 4 of them now. And we have, Thank you, Richard. Yeah,
So which-
I keep forgiving this one right here that we just purchased.
Which houses are purchased?
This one here, over on this corner, and then we own this one, and this one. And then I think we have one more in here somewhere. Right in here somewhere. Close to Richard.
Didn't someone else just want to sell and we didn't get it, or was that just?
No, there's a couple people that that particular one happened to be on 800 North, but we turned down a couple of other people, on 2230. So I think someday it may happen. Don't think it's going to be widened in my career, but what I do hope to do.
Not allowed to retire.
What I do like to do, put a traffic signal right here, bring this road to a four-way intersection, have a drop lane as opposed to a merge lane. That would, in my opinion, provide a little bit more safety for the neighborhood.
Drop lane and a merge lane.
So we get rid of the merge lane, which a merge lane has to come over to the through movement. A drop lane is you get in the right lane and you have to make a right-hand turn. Okay.
The idea that you have to stop and wait to get over?
You don't have to stop. You
It's
make
it
a
ends at
right.
the intersection.
You're just forced to make a right
It doesn't
turn.
go through past the intersection.
So they would get back
Sometimes
in.
people get stuck on
It
street,
just-
when they aren't locals. Every BOU game person is gonna be completely.
Did we notice that what was a drop lane southbound on Canyon Road, crossing 2200, that's been painted over? Is that,
So one southbound, we got a lot of complaints. We started taking a look at that. So now we make a right through movement. So you can go, because we have a receiving lane on the other side.
Yeah.
So that now has been restriped to be a right turn or a through movement. So it's in,
It is confusing though right now because there's a lot of tar and stuff on the road for previous work, so it's very lumpy. And the arrow is taken out, but the way the striping is set up so that it would be the drop lane is still there.
is the arrow not been repainted?
The arrow has been repainted, but the white stripe that goes up to it,
Uh-huh,
so instead of it being broken white,
uh-huh.
it has this solid white because it was the turn only.
Okay.
That hasn't been changed.
We plan on doing this intersection right here this summer. And so maybe I can get the guys to come down here and do that. Yeah, so we're gonna be improving this intersection at Tentview Drive and Canyon Road, or Tentview Drive and 2200 North. Anybody try to make a right turn there with another car waiting for the through movement? It's a very narrow 8-foot right turn lane. It doesn't work. We're gonna restripe this summer, right, David? And,
Are you taking any easements or?
no, we're just gonna shift everything over to the south. We have room to do that. And so we're gonna do that one, and then, I'm glad David's here. And then maybe we can get down here and fix that too. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I'm acutely aware of that because that's my route for riding home. And so when it was the drop lane, it was actually really nice for me because then I would be there and I could kind of be in the middle of the lane, people could turn right behind me, but now that it's changed, there's not a great place for the bike to be because most people are still turning right.
Yeah. And so we'll do a better striping and get rid of that solid line right there that
Yeah.
you're talking about. During BYU games, everybody would park in this lane. And that is and we've reiterated the signage there, and that will be enforced from now on.
It's also confusing when you have only one through lane, but two receiving lanes on the other side. Like that creates challenges, and so I imagine there were people who were trying to go straight.
There were, people were going straight, and it would kind of scare the people in the through lane.
And the bike lane doesn't continue north on Canyon Road there, but I 100% riding my bike on.
I do all the time.
Yeah, you got a pretty good wide shoulder
It's a
to
wide
do so.
shoulder.
It's the best bike facility. It's one of the routes in Strava that you get clocked on. It's good.
But that will make an interesting change for bicyclists for that intersection.
I'll probably have at least 5 more minutes of discussion for east-west connectivity before we do the 3 final reports, Mr. Chair.
Can I ask about the Center Street light signals?
Yes.
Is there an opportunity there? I drive that and walk it, daily, and I feel like the east-west could be more room to, mess with that too. But my fear would be traffic coming straight through, people speeding, and there's a lot of pedestrians.
On Center Street? Yeah, biggest complaint I get on Center Street right now is probably due to a little bit of the alternative traffic that we're getting off of University Avenue because of the bridge viaduct. The biggest thing I'm getting right now is we have no left turn lanes and we don't plan on any left turn lanes. And people want me to take out parking and put in left turn lanes, and I just can't do that.
No.
So, thank you. You're just gonna have to wait to make your left turn lanes. I'm trying to remember if we got those coordinated from the Center Street. We got those coordinated. I
don't remember.
I don't remember. We're really stuck between two state routes here, between Fifth and University, and we have just two signals.
2 signals, yes.
Yeah, just 2 signals. So I don't think they're coordinated in any way, shape, or form because of the university and state routes.
When you have so much parking and other things that just coordinating them wouldn't bring a bunch of benefits.
My fear would just be if it too coordinated and people just sped
Yeah.
right through, that would help the traffic.
I'd go on the record to say that anything we can do to make Center Street more of a parking lot, pedestrian plaza, make it really a pinch point for particular traffic through downtown.
But we had that when there was only like heading east into Center Street. There was only 1 lane going in from the barriers up for a while. That seemed to help quite a bit.
We were experimenting there a little bit, yes.
There were a bunch of experiments that we were talking about, like back-in angle parking. We were talking about bicycle lanes between the parking and the sidewalk. We were talking there's a whole bunch of things that they've done in Salt Lake that we had talked about doing on Center Street or thinking about. What's the status of those things?
Well, right now, we did have a conversation centered around the budget to put in for a study that would look at utilities as well as block faces here in a new cross-section from basically 2nd East over to 5th West. And it just didn't make the priority of the budget. Now, I don't think the budget's been 100% finalized, but it's as close as it's gonna get before they pass it.
Which one was the budget?
There's the Center Street study.
Yeah, the council instead prioritized an economic study for the city. And it may be that economic study will identify Center Street as one of our, and tells us that's a huge driver, so.
I just think that if we're gonna do something before the 2034 Olympics where we're able to implement something, the next 2 years is pretty critical. There is a go, no-go. It's kind of like NASA, right? Counting down and say, oh, we got a no-go because we found a, error in the, so anyway, I'm just saying the timing situation, if the goal, which is still, I'll argue, the best downtown in the entire state, has the best downtown Main Street, Center Street in the entire state. I can't think of another one that beats this one in the state. Now, there's a couple people that argue with me about Ogden.
No.
I like Provo so much better, but anyway, we do have a place, and I think the future of Center Street is to the point where it's more active transportation. It's maybe 1 lane of travel, and definitely not 2 in each direction. It needs a facelift because it looks so 1980s.
And this committee has done that list of recommendations for Center Street. Problem as I understand it, is that we shouldn't start implementing those improvements.
The guys are last on the road.
Yes,
Good
exactly
evidence in
that.
that case.
Those were not old.
Yeah, the water, the sewer, the storm drain, all the utilities on Center Street are also aging infrastructure and quite frankly, not up to standard size of what we envision, land use changes in the future in downtown.
So the previous recommendations are really, really good. We just don't have a way to implement them.
So there was a, you asked earlier in the meeting about the state of the Provo City Transportation Plan. I think it, thinking about the Olympics in 2034 brings up the idea that we may want to look at that long-range plan for transportation and see, like, 'cause that was done without knowing that the Olympics would be coming. And so, yeah, if there are things that we would need to do before the Olympics come, it would be good to, and maybe do an amendment to it this year or next year.
So I was here for the 2002 Winter Olympics, and here's how that planning works. You plan for it, you're looking at the venues, you know where they're at, you're doing all this planning, and then the Olympic Committee comes in and assigns their staff to you, and they tell you how it's going to work. You don't get much, if any, say. So I suspect that it will work very similar to what we had in 2002.
No, but like things like Center Street, like if we have events, because they are using the Peaks as a venue, right?
Yeah.
If we have people in Provo for events, we should ensure that the city's background network can be something that, like, yeah, the Utah, the planning committee is going to come in and say, run these 500 shuttle buses from Lavelle Edwards to the Peak, but we can at least make Center Street pleasant for them.
No, I don't disagree. We just adopted the 2000 Transportation Master Plan and had
That's right.
that discussion in there. I do want to point out one east-west mobility. The biggest complaint I get in the entire city on a UDOT road is on University Avenue and 5th North over by the library. Just so you know, it's taken a long time convincing. UDOT is now willing to put in left turn signals here.
Oh, good.
So just,
Considering, or what, are they past considering phase?
they're in the you have to phase now. They've been told they have to by their director. So anyway, it took some doing, but we're gonna see some type of left turn signal movement on that 5th North and University Avenue.
Protected one.
Protected, yes, protected left turn signal. Because right now, you're lucky to get 1, 2 if you break the law and get through during PM peak hour. Okay, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to stop this discussion on this for now. And then I'm sure we'll be revisiting that in the future. Now go to the engineering project updates.
Okay, just wanted to give a quick update on the bridge here. So things are moving along fairly well. On the west side, everything is prepped and ready for asphalt, which will be placed on Tuesday, and then landscaping will come in shortly after that. So you'll see this west side button up here in the next week and a half. This is a cul-de-sac that we put in. The bridge itself, so you can see here, they're prepping this approach slab, they're tying bar today. They'll tie this one in the next couple of days as well. You'll see both of these poured next week. And then the bridge, parapets, and everything on the deck will then take shape. So over the next week, we'll be filling and finishing the east side, curb and gutter, filling the road, and then that will receive asphalt the week after. So as of right now, we're still on track to have this open up by July 3rd. There will be a couple of things that will remain that need to be done after that, but we'll be able to have traffic back on the road by then. So trail won't be open for another month after that, because of some of our timelines with the undercrossing and all the retaining walls. The muralists that we're going to have in and paint all that has requested to full cure. So they need about a month for all that concrete to set up fully. And so they'll start painting the end of this month on the 28th, and there'll be about 3.5 weeks of painting. And so
what are you gonna do for traffic management of the trail?
we'll,
The road opens back up.
we'll continue to have our detour. Yeah, we'll have to face that. We'll have a detour somehow.
Are we gonna, it would be a mistake if somebody got hit by a car getting across 800 North on our brand new bridge because the trail wasn't open.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna have to visit that. I don't know if we have a plan fully for that yet. Yeah, anyways, it's on track and it's looking good to open up in the next couple of weeks.
Are you doing a little?
Yeah, I believe the administration is planning something the week after the 24th of July. Just with where we have it planned the week of the 4th, and then the mural is supposed to be done the week of the 24th. They felt it was best just to go the week after to do some sort of celebration and be able to highlight all of those things, not in conflict with the holidays. And so,
Yeah, you don't want to.
right.
Thank you. And do you have a few things?
Yeah, on the capital improvement projects update, these are the projects that our department engineering is doing as speaking. We have the South State Street Trail project going on. It's a 10-feet sidewalk trail, curb and gutter, storm improvement along with street lights. This is between 300 South and 900 South on State Street. The project will complete by October 15th. 850 East sidewalk, construction of 5 feet, sidewalk, curb and gutter, 80 improvements, along with storm improvements from Center Street to 150 South, along 850 East. The project will complete sometime in mid-July. 700 East, 800 North signal. This is construction of a new 3-way signal at the intersection of, again, 700 East, 800 North. Project will complete by end of July. 1600 West sidewalk project. This is a connecting sidewalk project from 80 South to 180 South along 1600 West. It includes sidewalk, curb and gutters, some storm improvements, and project will complete by end of June. We have our crack seal project going on. That project will complete, or at least we'll have a stop to it end of this week. So this is the last week of our crack seal project. 900 East, 900 South sidewalk project. We did finish that project last week. Our Franklin CDBG, we did about 33 ADA ramps in Franklin neighborhood. That project completed last week. Our Foothills CDBG project, we started that project last week. We're going to be in Foothills for another, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. And then 500 North, 200 West signal reconstruction. That project will begin in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And it will go, approximately end date be end of July, sometime in August.
That one. Do that one.
Back center.
And we're putting in protected left turns there too. So that'll match what we're doing on University on Fifth. I have one last thing, University Avenue Bridge replacement update. The good news is, UDOT told the contractor they couldn't close the entire 2 lanes on the southbound off-ramp or on-ramp. So they're closing half of the time. And so we got to keep that road, that access open to southbound I-15 at the ramp. Our boring is going better. Better meaning we're able to get through the whatever blockage we had, and we're moving forward, and when there's been no disruptions to the railroad. To tell you how close that is, if they take shots, survey 3 times a day. If we're 1/8 of an inch difference, we have to contact the railroad. If we're 1/4 inch, we have to stop work. Well, that's how tight that is. Anyway, a little bit better news is, 600 South, we've been working with the railroad on that one. We did get final approval to move forward with our trail and fencing project and new curb and gutter and parking along 6 South. Over the next couple of weeks, we should see the railroad be moving all of their railroad materials, what I refer to as junk, right along here. Yeah, railroad treasures. Old ties, old tie plates, new tie plates if you want a new tie plate. Anyway, they're all down there and they're gonna be relocating them.
My understanding is they were just dumping that on Provo City property.
Yes, it was Provo City property and possession is 9/10 law, so it took 2.5 years to convince UP that they were on our property.
The neighborhood, what happened about that?
And the original project limits was from first west to second east. Our bid came in where we were able to do all the way to fourth east. We had planned we got funding to second east, but our bid, I didn't have to go back and ask for more money. We got 2 more blocks out of it. We're really excited about that.
Is that,
This is to fourth east, where the park is, and then second east to our bikeway. Yeah.
Right, very much. One last announcement before we adjourn is that there will be no TMAC meeting in July. So the next one will be in August. I don't know what the date is.
Same Thursday
Third
of the month.
Thursday in August, where we will dedicate the entire meeting to Greg.
My grad student will be coming.
Oh, yeah.
There is the bulk of the presentation. I hope. We'll see.
And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we need a vote to adjourn?
No, we don't.
Okay.
All right.